Please subscribe.
The 2020 Jaguars has put on new blinders. The interests for diesel economy and supercharged V6 execution consistently were at the edges of its gifts. For 2020, they're out of the picture and therefore irrelevant. With the 2020s, Jaguar centers around Turbo 4 motors, sagaciously tuned ride and dealing with, a superb guarantee and support plan, and a somewhat hotter inside. We give it a 6.4 out of 10. The current year's doesn't stray excessively a long way from the BMW-driven standard and sport vehicle style. The LED headlights are new and trim, the LED taillights have been leveled at the base, and the aerodynamic trim bundles cuts metallic and work trim to the proportional body. It's exemplary game car, stamped too harsh. We simply wish Jaguar would rifle through its own wardrobe for increasingly inside style. It's a plain work environment, more harsh than even BMW's most recent cockpit structures. As it's streamlined to Turbo 4 power alone, Jaguar's kept two power levels that keep us in the chase. Base S autos have 247 pull, while our dynamics have 296 horsepower, for 0 to 60 miles per hour times that section the 6.0 second imprint. In a state of harmony with the freshly responsive e-speed program and back or all-wheel drive, the 2020's powertrain stays a quality, however its ride and taking care of legitimacy more consideration. More permeable than a 3 or stronger than a Weeble-Gummibear half-breed, this knows we're straight ahead untruths and realizes that apprehensive and skittish in fast bends is certainly not a decent look. Without a doubt, it could utilize a greater secondary lounge, yet then it'd be XF, and the 2020 Jaguars charges better for the two travelers who truly tally, the ones in front. Grippy sports seats don't overwhelm travelers in space, without a doubt, however the casing-like lodge fits the mission here. It's harder to get into the rearward sitting arrangement, however the space is satisfactory for grown-ups, and this trunk is sensibly huge. No accident test information has ever been gathered for this, yet programmed crisis braking now is standard, and Jaguar sells versatile voyage control and an Encompass C-camera framework as side dishes. The base $40, $8952020's car gets cowhide upholstery, a 10.3-inch touchscreen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto similarity, 18-inch Hagel season tires, control front seats, and a sunroof. Alternatives incorporate Root, a second touchscreen for atmosphere controls, 825-watt Meridian sound, warmed and cooled front seats, warmed back seats, a back camera reflect, all-wheel drive, and the aerodynamic trim bundle. At the point when Jaguar portrayed its smaller extravagance car, it didn't stray excessively a long way from the diagram well known for quite a long time. The longish nose, the shortish deck, it's every one of the attribute to an age of game cars, and however it's subordinate, it's nitty-gritty well. We give this a 6 for styling, with an additional point for its body. The dramatization of Jaguar's past has left the studio. The 2020s makes a special effort to impersonate the 3 Series, down to the delicate flair of its wheel wells and the firmly tucked back side. It's exquisite, it's strong, however the entire game vehicle multiverse has merged on a similar outline, and it's hard to recognize this from a Model 3 or BMW 3-year. We'll hand it to Jaguar that its extents are maybe better and its subtleties better drawn. There's no history to bow down to, so its LED headlights take a fun hockey stick edge, and its taillights level out into beat waveforms. Our dynamics turn the style dial a score with dim work trim and brushed metallic bits. We miss the old ideas of British extravagance increasingly inside. This year, Jaguar has cleaned the lodge with better materials that spread hard plastic with milder synthetics, with an auxiliary computerized show for atmosphere controls, with another move switch that replaces the old Star Trek-ish transmission puck. This quieted lodge has the control unit realness of a vintage 2010 S-game car, yet it does not have the warm and woolly seats of the Range Rover Velar, or the pretty mixes of encompassing light and wood trim that grace the old XF vehicle. It's a British feeling of British extravagance, yet wraps up of the world needs something progressively retrograde. Panther has stripped the V6 and turbodiesel powertrains from the 2020s hymn book. However, despite everything, it murmurs sweetly behind the twin forces of a Turbo 4 and a well-tuned suspension. We give the most recent Z7 for execution. There's only one motor in the 2020s, however it's offered in two yield levels. The equivalent 2.0-liter Turbo 4 from the past returns, and in this SP250 it's appraised at 247 horsepower, which it comes to at 5,500 revolutions per minute. Pinnacle torque of 269 pound-feet lands at 1,300 revolutions per minute and holds through 4,500 revolutions per minute. In the same way as other of the Turbo 4s and conservative extravagance vehicles, the Jag motor's well tuned to convey its capacity and doesn't sound stressed as it goes after redline. Puma guarantees 0 to 60 miles per hour runs of 6.2 seconds, and braking points top speed to 120 miles per hour in the uprated adaptation found in the ZAR Dynamic S. The Turbo 4 creates 296 horsepower and 295 pounds-to-feet of torque, arrives at 60 miles per hour in 5.4 seconds and a 120 mile/hour top end. Each one of those figures square with pioneers like the C-Class and 3 Series and A4, and this control weight ranges from 3,385 to 3,560 pounds like them, from base back drive structure to completely stacked AWD trim. All vehicles get a deftly modified 8-speed programmed with accessible or moved controls. The previous revolving transmission handle on the Comfort's gone, swapped out for a stick-style move switch that hints execution superior to anything a rheostat-like handle. The transmission holds gears when its sport mode is chosen. This likewise has drive modes from Comfort to Eco, Terrain/Ice/Snow, to Dynamic, which remap move focuses, throttle reaction, and controlling weight. Puma's ride and dealing with minor retuning and the end of some base tires. This is ride and dealing with holds its mindful appeal. The body's made out of lighter-weight aluminum, as is the suspension, the controlling's by electric engine. It's everything combined into a bundle that bests vehicles like the Greater 3R for generally feel and particularly ride comfort. This hasn't lost the remarkable controlling feel, even with its base haggle bundle upsized to 18s. The directing's not overburdened with fake weight, in any event, when taken advantage of sport mode on the strip of comfort-mounted catches. The elegant and liquid suspension feel still separates this from increasingly fragile rides. Panther's trademark ride quality decades prior was a wellspring of pride. It's solidified impressively, however, in the organization of German and Japanese iron. The ride's honored with more consistency and better assimilation, particularly when fitted with the versatile dampers that can be requested in a group alongside driver programmable modes, execution brakes, red calipers and a deckled spoiler. We'd put a mark on the 20-inch haggles tires walled off on our dynamic vehicles, which we've driven in France, however not on some less lenient streets in America. This may look an excessive amount of like a 3 Series, yet it's no transgression at all that it handles just as one. While Jaguar's revived this under the skin and at its nose, the Traveler and extra room has continued as before. It's game car cozy inside, without a doubt preferred in front for travelers over and back, yet size-fitting. We give it a 6 for solace and quality. At 184.2 inches long in general, the 2020s rides on a 111.6-inch wheelbase. It's spun from a similar design as the more XF car, however the two are comparative in front seat space and backing. Like the vehicles it takes in its immediate point C-Class and 3 Series, this realizes that a firm, well-supported seat signs drivers up for an all the more captivating experience. This has all the pad it needs, regardless of whether it's over the shoulders, under the legs, or secured at the abdomen. They're a decent supplement to the vehicle's ride and dealing with ability, and from their essential 12-way control modification they can be optioned up to 16-way change in warming and cooling. We wouldn't consider the space that encompasses them bountiful, however this doesn't feel restricting, despite the fact that the support has grown a shifter in the spot of the low-lying transmission puck. There's a secondary lounge presence to a greater degree attached to tall travelers. Extra space to move around hits the imprint. It's 35.0 inches, yet the back entryways have moderately little openings at their base. The slide-in can be increasingly troublesome, and there's not a tremendous span of headroom, yet a 6-foot-tall grown-up can sit behind themselves. There's a trunk gauges apiece on the little side at 14.5 cubic feet, however little things stockpiling in the vehicle is better, and the back seats grease down for bigger extra room. A few weaknesses: the lodge control window switches sit over the entryway boards, while the lock switch sits beneath. This is all the more squeezing concern is, in spite of higher grade materials inside, the lodge is still plain by any standard, particularly the high one set by pre's Jags. With the 2020 redesigns, Jaguar's made much more well-being hardware standard. All models currently have front and back stopping sensors and dynamic path control, just as programmed crisis braking. On the choices list, purchasers will discover versatile journey control, a head-up show, vulnerable side screens, an Encompass C camera framework, and programmed leave help, which directs the vehicle into a parallel or opposite spot while the driver works the throttle and brakes. Puma sells the 2020's vehicle in two variants. There's a ZS car with 247 horsepower. It costs $40,895 in back-drive structure, and $42,895 with all-wheel drive. The R-Dynamic trim pack includes hardware and trim and expenses $47,290. We give the 2020 Jaguars a 8 for highlights, on account of magnificent standard gear, infotainment that works, and a sterling health plan. The decision between vehicles to a great extent depends on your requirement for all-season footing. Each of the 2020's vehicles accompany 18-inch haggles, A,